I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sains, that is my buddy Butch Rosenbalm. We are here to review the movie Army of Darkness, starring Bruce Campbell, who is a Butch Rosenbaum lookalike. No, not really.
Don't insult Bruce like that.
Anyway, this movie is a lot of fun, man. This is obviously the part of the Evil Dead trilogy. So, Butch, let me ask you this. Out of all three movies, how would you rank these? Like, what order would you rank them
in? No. Sorry, no. I can't rank them. I mean, there's things I like about all of them. The first one, if you want deep, dark horror, Evil Dead 1. You want deep, dark horror with some comedy and better effects and some humor, Evil Dead 2. You want action with a little bit of humor, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 3, or is it as some people call it, Medieval Dead? So, no, I honestly, seriously, it'd be like you ask, which Star Wars film is the best? What are you wanting? I mean, certain genres you can do that too. Everybody knows Dawn of the Dead is the best Romero film. Yeah. Everybody knows Wrath of Khan is the best Star Trek film. Yeah. Come on, somebody make a comment in the comments. Honestly, it's what you want with these three. I mean, each of them has their good points, and each of them has their flaws. So,
I will say I'm not gonna. I will rank them before I do. I think more younger generations need to go back and watch the first film, because I've heard so many times throughout, many people, when The Walking Dead was casting Negan, I heard so many people say Bruce Campbell for Negan. And now Jeffrey Dean Morgan got the role. And this one guy who came to our apartment, we were living in an apartment at the time, who was working with my son, he knew I was a horror fan. He said, do you think Bruce Campbell would do a good job as Negan? I said, well, let me ask you something. Why do you want Bruce Campbell? Now, I've seen all three Evil Dead movies, asking this. And the only thing they've really read is the comic where Bruce Campbell's Ash versus the zombies and stuff in Marvel, I guess. And they said, well, I want him because he was in those Evil Dead movies. I said, okay. I said, have you ever... He said he versus zombies in those, right? And I looked at him, and I'm like, no. He said, or not, because I gave him a look. I said, they're not zombies. So what I did when we got back to the apartment, he was leaving. I went up, I grabbed my Evil Dead DVD, and I handed it to him. I said, you go home and you watch this. And he said, I was not expecting that. Which I think Ash Williams, in our time, so many horror characters became literal icons. And Ash Williams is definitely one of those. And so anytime you hear the word, hey, if you got to kill something dead, go get Ash Williams. He'll do it. But Ash Williams was somebody who was just this normal guy with a normal job. Evil Dead, Army of Darkness talks about this. But he had a girlfriend who he loved. He lost people he cared about. The original Evil Dead, I would put first, because I feel at times it's becoming lost to the younger generation. Now, that's just my opinion. I want more people to go watch the original Evil Dead. Army of Darkness is going to be watched for all time, and so is Evil Dead 2, because it has fun, gore, comedy. They're don't get me wrong, they're great movies. I would put the original Evil Dead first because to me that's where you really first meet, to me, the real Ashley Williams. In my opinion. But to me, I would put that one. I would put Army of Darkness second, and I would put Evil Dead 2 right behind it. I first saw these movies, all of them, on VHS when I was a kid. But you're right about the horror part one. If you want that sort of physical, scary horror movie, Evil Dead 1 is your selection. When did you first see these, Butch?
I think I saw 2 in the theater. It came out when I was in high school, and I think I saw 3 in the theater. But I'm not going to swear on either one of those cases. But I do remember, I think I was a junior in high school, and friends talking about Evil Dead 2. And I'm pretty sure, that I went to see it. But my God, that's 40 something years ago. So if nothing else, I know I saw all 3 on video cassette, and I remember Army of Darkness. At first, back in the old days, a lot of people didn't have a lot of theatrical films in their video cassette collection because they were expensive.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people realize that, and that was when we get to the early to mid '90s. You start being able to afford them. So I remember. I think there was a point where I had to choose between getting Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and I just happened to choose Army of Darkness. So,
Yeah. Bruce Campbell, very talented actor. He did a lot of physical, behind the scenes stuff. He actually helped push the camera across the lake, the lake in the opening scene of Evil Dead 1, where they're going into where their camera's getting close to the car. He was in tremendous shape for this film, for Army of Darkness, the one we're talking about. And his timing in this movie is excellent. The lines, everything. I mean, amazing actor, and he always finds a way, no matter what film he's in, to entertain the audience. I can't say good things about him. I mean, he just. What's your take, Butch? I'm sorry.
I agree with everything you said. I mean, Bruce Campbell is a legend, and specifically for these 3 films, and specifically, I'll say Army of Darkness, because that was the one that really broke it over into the mainstream. I know more people that know Army of Darkness than know Evil Dead. A lot of people know, it's part of it.
Yeah.
But and without this, I don't think you get his, the Hercules, his role in the Hercules and Xena shows and the Jack of all trade shows. I mean, here's the thing, Joel. I've always been confused why Bruce Campbell didn't become a bigger actor.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. Like I said, he's got good comedic timing. He's got good dramatic. I don't think there's anything he couldn't do. Our mutual friend Patrick McCray, he said we were talking about Star Trek series 2000, 2001, and he said, "Who would you cast for captain?" And I'm thinking, he goes, "I've got the perfect person as the new captain of the Enterprise." I'm like, "Who?" Bruce Campbell. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's perfect."
Yeah.
Bruce. I have sat through many a film just because Bruce Campbell's in it.
Yeah.
And he always was.
Yeah. I remember him in Briscoe County Jr. He was amazing in that. I mean, he was everywhere on television. He was in that. He was in Xena, like you said. And I mean, it just seemed, and to me, he's somebody you can't get enough of. And so he's so, in this movie, again, he's entertaining. I love all the visual effects they do with this film, especially tying two together with this movie. I love the all the visual work they do with the I love the makeup of the evil Ash. Yes. What did you think of the makeup in this movie, Butch?
Very effective. Sure, there's a couple scenes, especially with skeletons, you can tell it's plain old practical effects from the 90s.
Yeah.
But the Deadite captain, which by the way, played by Bill Moseley, and Bruce playing Ash and Evil Ash. The best thing I can think you can say about it is it all works, even when like when Bruce is splitting into two. I mean, if you really, especially with a DVD where you can pause it and like, okay, yeah, that looks kind of fake, but it works. You're not supposed to. This is not Shakespeare.
No.
This is not, James Cameron. What was the movie on the other planet? Avatar.
Yeah.
This is not some high dollar, big budget. Everything works, and the thing I really like about it, and it's funny to me, people don't seem to catch it, or maybe I just read into it too much. He goes back to around 1000 AD, but we're dealing with King Arthur and Merlin.
Yeah.
I mean, the king, he meets a king whose name is Arthur, and there's a wizard that helps him figure things out. And it's like, does nobody else catch this? Ash is in Camelot.
Yeah. Yeah. Season Camelot. That's what's fun too. It's like Ash Williams has just met King Arthur. That's the most fun part about this. It's like it's part horror, part fairy tale, and all fun.
Yeah.
In every way. I mean, I love how they, but I love how they take new school technology and mix it with old school technology in this movie. They have so much fun putting everything together. What that car that he drives around. Yeah. It, really fun. Sam Raimi, they had to have an absolute blast making this thing because, to be able to put all that stuff together, the effects department, the production crew, what a blast they had to have. I was shocked. The most thing I was shocked about was the same thing Ash Williams was shocked about. Three Necronomicons, Butch. Three.
There's the one he gets sucked into and he comes out, and I've always thought, man, there has got to be a story in there. What happens to him when he's inside that Necronomicon?
Yeah, there probably is too. And the one just bites his hand. Yeah, it's like, why? And again, he says he doesn't say the words correctly, which causes the army of the dead to rise. I'm with you. I love how they did the evil Ash, how they did the man in the mirror, so to speak, because you often, and I'm not trying to be metaphorical, but you often do hear, are you the person you think you are? I love what they do here because, again, you're dealing with an evil entity, but you're also dealing with an evil version of yourself.
And given, Ash is, let's be honest, Ash is kind of dumb when it comes to book learning. But when it comes to, if you will, street savvy, that's another story. And when it comes to tenacity and willpower, that's hard to find a hero that can match it. So who is the perfect villain? An evil version of himself. I mean, that's got, because you can't wisdom him or outlast him or out tough him, because he's just as tough as you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the fact that they have all these little mini Ashes running around, tripping him up.
I love that. Oh god.
Yeah. London Bridge is falling down. Yeah. And it's so funny that they do this, and they just had this like horror moment of leading up to the windmill. For this movie does not miss a beat with it at all. The evil Ash who's played by Bill Moseley, when the creature goes, "Give me some sugar, baby." Like, yeah, yeah.
Says, "Don't make me break it
out." Very nice, very nice. But yeah, it's just, and I love how they had the cat. Like, I think the castle was a set design, I believe, or no? Do you know?
Yeah. But you know what? It works. You see enough. One of the things that I think everybody loves about Ash, that loves these films, Ash is like the scene where they're talking inside the castle, and he's talking to Merlin, and suddenly the water starts running over him and Sheila's feet, and they look up, and then the woman turns around, she's like, "You shall never retrieve the Necronomicon," and they're both like, "What the heck?" And then he goes over, and Ash stops him, and he's like, "It's a trick. Get an axe," and then he goes right into that fight, and it's just, you go from pretty relatively serious, talking about how do we fix this, how do we go back, then you get some horror, then you get some action, because I mean it launches into one of the great lines where the Bruce gets to utter, "Yo, she bitch, let's go." And that's the thing with those one-liners. The person that says them has to be believable. You have to believe this character would say this and is able to back it up. And you know what? Bruce Campbell just nails it. I mean, this is a Bruce fest here. So, if you don't think Bruce Campbell's a good actor, you should probably go find you another video.
Yeah. I love how he's talking to Henry Rudd. "Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I got news for you. You're in charge of two things, Jack and shit." And Jack's left out. It's like, hey, he's telling him, Henry, tell him I don't know you. He goes, "I don't think he'll listen, lad."
I did not think he'll listen, lad. And you're like, yeah. The demon witch woman, whatever, in the pond, the little pit there, that's Patricia Tallman from Night of the Living Dead 90.
Cool. I did not know that.
She used to be a stunt woman, and that was one of her stunts.
Cool. It's nice to see like an actress from another movie that you're familiar with, and they're in makeup, they're in a costume. I think some of the skeletons too, like they weren't. I think some of them were people in costume. Some of them were, not all of them, obviously.
Usually the slightly bigger ones, they got really thin people. But like there's a scene towards the end where I think it's Ash slices one with a sword, and you see, and he's like, and dust flies off, and he falls. I mean, that's a person, but I mean, you can always tell when it's a skeleton prop. Again, one of my favorite lines towards the end when the skeleton's like, "Let's get the hell out of here."
Yeah, they had. But again, the fact that they had all those skeletons too, I mean, your mixing effect with some real people, they did a beautiful job of doing that too. I mean, props to the effects team and again the production crew. I really love how they made everything look in this movie because again, it looked different from the last two movies that we saw. It was a little it was you felt like you were in the past with not just with the knights in the castle, but the language of the knights differ from the language of Ash. It's like it's simple little stuff like that that makes you appreciate the film even more. I mean, because I know you're a Ken Arthur fan. I'm a Three Musketeer guy, so I love stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that kind of makes you wonder, did the chainsaw become the legend that inspired Excalibur? That it could cut through anything.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a role playing game called Feng Shui, which deals with these feng shui sites, and some of them allow you to go through time. Yeah. And the greatest slasher of all time, Jason Voorhees, gets an entry in some fan created stuff where he goes back in time. And it has a drawing of, it looks very medieval, but it's a hockey mask and a serrated blade.
Nice.
So, not sure. I could be wrong, and I'm sure somebody will point out. I don't ever recall Jason using a chainsaw. I know he used the blade thing in 7. I don't really remember him using a straight up chainsaw.
No, he used sort of like this wicked looking blade. It looked like a weed whacker, but I don't think it was a weed whacker. It was something else.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah, it was. You're right. I don't ever remember Jason specifically using a chainsaw. I remember a chainsaw being used on Jason, but not for him. I remember Jason used the butcher knife, a machete, axe.
Let's not even start trying to name all that.
But you're right. I don't remember Jason ever using a chainsaw. Wouldn't mind seeing him with one, but again, I don't.
I think that little fellow from Texas might show up and have something to say.
Like, Jason, we got issues. The entire Sawyer family at Crystal Lake, one big hillbilly fest.
Thank you for saying Sawyer and not the remake family, whatever their name is. I don't count
that. You're welcome. Hey, I know that.
Did you ever see any of the Ash Evil Dead TV show?
I saw a couple episodes of the first season, and that was it.
It this DVD, this is the first. I believe this is the first one that Anchor Bay ever released, and it has the quote European cut with the European original ending, where we'd heard about it, and you finally see it. It's not that big of a deal. Ash wakes up and he's got this long beard, and he walks out, and there's nuclear devastation, and he's like, "Oh no, I slept too long," implying he didn't listen to instructions. But honestly, I like the theatrical ending better because we get another kick-ass scene of Ash kicking butt, but also it leaves it open. I really liked Ash versus Evil Dead, or I believe that I want to say it was the name of the show, but I really liked that, and I was amazed that Lee Majors would actually be in that. But I guess he got to the point where he's like, "Hey, I just want to act."
Yeah.
But again, without Army of Darkness, I don't think you have that show. I know that sounds well. Of course, you have to have the third film to have the series. But I mean, this movie really brought Evil Dead into the public consciousness. And, without it, I mean, there's no telling because I forget the guy's name, but in the Rocketeer film, someone was back then. Someone was trying to tell me that Bruce Campbell was going to be Bruce. I think his name is Billy Campbell.
Yeah, Billy Campbell's in it.
And I just was trying to, after I found out that wrong, I was trying to imagine Ash with the jetpack, and I'm like, oh no.
No, I saw The Rocketeer in theater. Fun movie. Very fun. Very underrated movie. Definitely a check out. Must check out if no one's ever watched it. Anyone who listens to this, if you've never seen The Rocketeer, watch it. Fun movie. But yeah, Billy Camp. That's funny. That's funny. I see. Like you always hear somebody rumored for a movie, and you're not sure like where that came from. I remember who was it that was rumored for some sort of science fiction. It wasn't Bruce Campbell. I think it was Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper wasn't in the movie that he was rumored to be in. And it's like, where did they hear this rumor? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'd say that probably from the usual space of in between someone's butt cheeks, talking out their derriere. Yeah. Of course, Roddy did make a really good sci-fi film that is near and dear to my heart, but I don't get off on another tangent. Hey, what do you think of Mbeth Daviditz as Sheila?
Great job. Really great. I mean, just as a character, first of all, very beautiful. Comes across as a woman who lived back in the old days. But the way, I've never been naked in front of people, and I imagine being half naked in front of people isn't easy. But she does a very good job, and she does a really good job of selling the terror of being kissed by a man whose face is not the prettiest in this movie. But I love the makeup they put on her, the green makeup, how they make her cheekbones look a little weird. It looked really, really interesting. So, what did you think, Butch?
Yeah, I liked her. I thought that, number one, it was a well-written character.
Mm-hmm.
She shows up at the beginning. I think it was her brother, who had gotten. She was asking the king about, and then she picks up a rock and she hits Ash with it because she's led to believe it. And then she's like, "Oh, you might be the everyone. You might be the chosen one." And again, another great Ash line. First, you want to kill me, then you want to kiss me. Slow. But she has an arc. She's not just a damsel in distress. She's not just the pretty thing.
Yeah.
There's a point to her character, and she goes through it. And I don't want to say back then, but there weren't that many roles like that back then. At least I don't think. Where you had, I mean, she actually is, has a personality. She has goals. She an arc. Her character progresses, and she does stuff. She's not just oh, save me, sir. Oh, save me. I'm so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. You're right. She does a very good job because here's a character who loses her brother in battle, and she throws a rock at Ash's head, causing him to fall into the well. What?
Well, while Joel is occupied, I will share something with you folks.
Very nice.
You're still in package, and you kind of have to take my word for it, but this is Bruce Campbell's autograph.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, now we're showing Bruce Campbell autographs. right here. It's hard to see, but I don't. You can take my word for it or not. I don't really care. And what's funny? About a year ago, my sister sent me a text, and she's like, "Hey, you need to go down to the local flea market. They're selling a couple of posters you might be interested in." And hard to get it all in, but there's actually a one sheet Army of Darkness there.
Nice.
And there was also one of House on Haunted Hill with that forgotten character actor that Jewel has trouble remembering, Vincent Price. No, you will never live that down. I hope you know that.
I do. I take it on the chin every time.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I was trying to feel safe, so you was taking care of your stuff there.
Yeah, my son was coming in the room to want my attention for a minute. Sorry about that. She does a really great job of building sympathy for herself and falling in love with the character of Ash and having a purpose in this film. I mean, I really, out of all the women we've seen in the Evil Dead movies, I like her the most. Not because the other women were insignificant. I don't think they were. But her character is very relatable. And I did like the woman who in the first Evil Dead who said to Ashley, I want to leave. I want to leave. And I love that character. She gets killed off.
Of course.
But this character here, the woman in this movie, does a really, really great job. The actress did a really great job of getting this character over. And I love our King Arthur actor too. He is really fun to watch in this movie.
It's kind of funny. She's kind of disappeared, but Bridget Fonda is in this film. She has a cameo as Linda, Ash's girlfriend, when we have the recap of Evil Dead. And I was talking to somebody not that long ago, and I mentioned Bridget Fonda, and they're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "How do you not know Bridget Fonda?" I mean, they're in the '90s. Seemed like she was in everything. Apparently, she's a big Evil Dead fan, and that's why she did this. And it's just kind of, I was reading she got married to Danny Elfman, and they started having kids, and she kind of concentrated on her family. Good for her. But it's kind of funny. It's like, how do you don't know Bridget Fonda? But you start getting into those oddnesses. I mean, there was a guy I used to game with, and he tried to tell me, and I still don't know if I believe him, that he had never seen an episode of MASH. I'm like, how do you not see an episode of MASH? But things are, sometimes it's like that. There's those odd gaps, if you will, and soon, it's not like me choosing I'm not watching another Mission Impossible film because I can't stand Tom Cruise. That's a choice.
Right.
Just, for whatever reason, their life avoids that path. So I just want to give her a.
No. I was very fortunate to have a mother who sat me down and showed me a lot of things, and she was a fan of the show MASH, and she told me it was a movie and first, and so I've seen the series and the movie. I saw the series in the Heat of the Night, saw the movie in the Heat of the Night. Thank you to my grandfather, my mom's dad. Same guy I watch Westerns with. And it's just like, I was very fortunate to have a mother who let me watch film. So sometimes we're not all that fortunate, and we all don't, have access to the same library that we usually do. Because again, to watch MASH, I mean, they still show MASH in reruns at times in different channels. But I do think sometimes things can become lost to time. It's like somebody always tells me, when I have when I see somebody older and I have a Barnabas shirt on, they'll stop me. Oh, that's Barnabas Collins, but somebody younger won't know who it is. They're like, who's on your shirt? And I explain who's on my shirt. So I mean, it's such a contrast difference that not everybody knows who certain characters are because they just aren't familiar with what they're from.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's weird. It's life. And honestly, this is going to sound a little weird, so give me a second to get it all out. There is so much information available thanks to the internet that it's too much information. I mean, I remember like I would buy Fangoria, and so for once a month or so, I would have something to read and tell me about this new film coming out, or this actor that I like's made a new film, or here's, I don't know any of these people, but this film sounds interesting, or this film sounds horrible. But now there's so many resources, and there's so many people, and I'm not knocking anybody doing their thing. There's so many little films and stuff being done with Kickstarter and all that kind of stuff. It's so easy to just get overwhelmed. And there was what was it? There was something recently. Of course, I'm getting old and my brain don't work. Something I was surprised to find that there had been a sequel to, and I'm like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of this makes, going back to this makes me think when it was a little bit easier to keep track of everything, even though everybody knew we were missing stuff. You just couldn't see it all. You couldn't have it all. You didn't have access to that kind of information.
I also think too, for example, like when I was growing up, there were different TV, like the shows that I would watch in the 90s. Did I watch every season? No. Because when things come on the weekend, I was always going to my grandparents over the weekend. So I didn't sit there at Friday night at my parents' house and watch it. I was going to my grandparents' house to spend time with them. But I think there's a difference between not watching something when it's on, because there's the things that I've watched the things that were on in the 90s, all of it's on DVD. Like pretty much all of it. Like it's on in a box set, at Walmart or something. My biggest fear is with physical media is you need to have more stores need to sell physical media, because I don't want it to just be one store, because that one store can inflict the rule to not have a certain DVD. And I remember growing up, forget which store would not sell, there were stores that would not sell Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. I remember that when my mom's video store was open, there were video stores not wanting to carry that. And it's like, why? It's a movie. Like, what's your issue?
We don't want to make money.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, what the hell? And it's like you would see. My mom got it the one day, and she said, and she had watched it before. She goes, people are idiots. It's like I'm like, when you say that publicly, she goes, yes, if the person who thinks this is inappropriate comes into the store, yes, I'll personally call them an idiot. I'll go out of my way. It's like, I want to see this. It never came. But that's the thing. I think sometimes censorship can affect DVDs and franchises, and I hope that in our future we don't have that sort of censorship where somebody goes, oh, I don't think this is appropriate, and leaves it out of a store. That's my biggest worry, really, with with physical media. I mean, because I'll give an example too, and I know you're like, I grew up watching wrestling. I see all the things that were on. I know how the Attitude Era went, and I see so much of it being censored. And it's like, newsflash, it wasn't censored when it was on TV. It's like it wasn't as bad as they're making it out to be.
Yeah, that's the thing about censorship, and I was really bad for this when I was younger. If somebody said I didn't need to see this, or they, hid something, I was like, man, I have to find out what that is.
Yeah,
That just makes it that much more desirable.
yeah,
You know, I, it, I agree with you. I wish more places were selling physical media. I remember used to, I would get my tax return, and the first day off I had, I would head to Best Buy and start combing through their DVDs. I mean, I don't know how many tax return times I did that, and Best Buy doesn't sell physical copies anymore, and that this is where we get into my problem with streaming. And not that I have a problem with streaming in and of itself, but I don't mean to keep this in the I have this. I can watch this
me too.
as long as there's power and the necessary hardware. I can watch this whenever I want.
Yep.
If I put it on Max or whatever, and even if I buy it, they can take it away. And I own this.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. That's the thing. I do too, and that's like, I own Evil Dead, the first two Evil Deads, and it's like, I can't imagine, like, all the films that I own, from Halloween, the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I can't imagine somebody not wanting to make money and sell Blu-rays and sell physical media. And I do think that it's sort of, when people ask me, about the DS, and like, do you want them to go to Netflix? And I said, on one condition, that sink or swim, it goes to DVD. It gets a DVD release, because Netflix had, for whatever reason, Netflix. There was a movie that was on Netflix, that Hush, I think it's called, where they never released that on DVD until finally Mike Flanagan bought the rights back to it and released it on DVD. That film is how old? It's like, and it's not crazy old, but it's like, streaming services are keeping some of your favorite things from being physically released. And that's the biggest concern I have. It's like, if that's the case, then I don't really want to support. That's why I tell my wife. She goes, do I like streaming? And it's like, anymore, it's like, I do, but I don't like the politics they're playing, because that's what that is. You're playing politics. You're literally taking a product and keeping it prisoner, so people will come to your streaming service repeatedly to not own it. And here's where I'll give Paramount this credit. They've actually released on DVD Strange New Worlds. I will give Paramount the credit. Great. That's a great example. They are not afraid to release something on DVD that is still on their streaming service. I applaud Paramount for doing that. Keep doing that. It's ridiculous.
Hold on a sec.
Sorry.
I mean, you can go ahead. Oh, send Patrick the link.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Sorry, everybody. More cool toys to show you. I can show you Ash again. And I do have the chainsaw.
Okay, I just sent it to me. But yeah,
Did you send it in Messenger?
yeah, I sent it. I just sent it twice.
I think he's having some kind of issue with Messenger. Can you send it to my cell phone? You have my cell phone, or send here? There, hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves, folks.
Well, that's the thing too. Like with physical media, I do think that they really need to take the studios who can release physical media, release it. If you have something you want to put out there, put it out there. Because my fear is if something goes to like a Netflix, they won't release it. I mean, here's a great example: the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie on Netflix. They haven't released that to DVD. They haven't, and that's just a big. There he is. There he is. There he is.
It's the star of the show.
No, stop that. No, it's been a bad day.
Sorry, Patrick.
That's all right. Let me turn.
But yeah, it's really amazing how I want more. We both we want more stores to carry physical media, and they really need to. One of the best. Again, I know recently Big
I
Lots.
assume they can hear me. I have no idea.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Speaking of physical media, I want to tell a quick story. A little shout out to my nephew Josh. When the first time he got married, he would come there.
I'll get that in a second.
Thank you.
No.
He would
But no, I'm doing.
put Army of Darkness on, and I had a VCR that would play the tape, stop at the end, rewind it, and start it over. And that's what all he would watch the whole weekend. And like I'd be going to bed, and I'd be hearing Army of Darkness, and I'd wake up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I'd hear Army of Darkness. And it finally got to the point where it was like, oh my God, will you please stop watching? So that's why the DVD I picked up several times. It's like, I put that in my will. He gets this. You can't, because I kept telling. I said, I don't mind you watching it, but you have a videotape. Every time you watch it, it's slowly dying.
Are you guys recording this? Is this the show?
Yeah, we've been recording.
Oh, delightful! Great.
Somehow I think that was delightful or great.
I'll be right back. I gotta answer my phone.
So what have you talked about so far?
Bruce Campbell, Beth DeVitz, physical effects. Feel free to. Just because we mentioned it, feel free to jump in. We both think that Bruce Campbell is extremely underrated.
And he is involved in a number of physical effects. That's it. That's all I got.
Do you have a favorite scene?
They can't see me.
What?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Then you're good, Patrick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Patrick's friend, Kimberly.
Hello.
Hey. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're fine.
No, you're fine.
Have you seen Army of Darkness, Kim?
Army of Darkness? I don't think so. Well, everything's my kind of movie. We're getting him all straightened out here.
Well, just talk, guys. It shouldn't be dependent on me.
How
about that Lucille Ball?
How about her?
3 camera presses.
I tell you, the story in Army of Darkness, it does not go the way you think it's going to go. I mean,
In
I
what
think
way?
I think at the time we all thought, oh, Ash is going to show up, he's going to kick everybody's butt, and that'll be the end of it. And Ash is a complete screw up. And with the Klaatu Barada, and but he redeems himself. When the Deadites are attacking Camelot, he's like, "Hey, what about Henry?" From the beginning of the film.
Here's
And
my
he brings,
question.
yes,
Is it just us?
Yeah.
it is just a.
Oh, I thought Alan was here. That's these long silences. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Okay. Well, so my question is, had he created the Bruce Campbell persona yet?
I think this is it.
Yeah, this is
Okay. Because that's a big deal. That persona didn't really exist when he made the second movie or the first movie, as far as I knew.
Yeah.
It might be an exaggerated expression or something, but that was it. So, because he's not playing Ash Williams, he's playing the Bruce Campbell character,
Yeah.
And, all right. Is this, why haven't they not made a fourth one?
I guess because I made so
Because they did what?
they did the TV show. My understanding, the rights are it's for another film are tied up with Dino De Laurentiis and a few other people because of Army of Darkness. I could be wrong.
What's this TV show?
Ash vs. Evil Dead that was on Starz.
Oh, yeah. I even own it. Sorry.
Yeah.
What? You can't remember everything ever?
Yeah. Army of Darkness. Hell of a movie. I like it when the little ashes are running around with the pork.
Yes, absolutely. Like,
Jewel, if there were a bunch of little evil versions of you, how would they torture you?
they wouldn't. They would torture my wife.
No, it stands to reason they would be your wife's friend. That would be part of the torture of you. They would give her evidence.
Give her evidence of what?
You know what I'm talking about.
Evidence of what?
The whole thing in East Pittsburgh. Went down, you, me, and the goat.
I'm not old enough for this.
Oh my God!
The person acting as your lawyer made a clear case that there was no exception. There was no comparison. But I withheld a lot of notes when I did that.
Oh my God!
I think the little Jules watch these and watch how we treat Joel, and that's how they treat him. Except whereas we're just most of the time friendly ribbing him, they would not be friendly ribbing him. Isn't that right, Joel? Come on, Joel. Answer me, Joel. What was your favorite scene? When did you first see this?
It is a friendly ribbing. And Jewel, I will say this. You are ribbed for our pleasure.
Yeah. Man.
And then they would rib you up. You want to get into that.
Yeah.
What were some other major creative decisions that they could have made with this movie that they didn't? Roads they were thinking about going down.
I don't know.
Butch, do you know?
I do not. I know there was the change there at the ending, the so-called European ending, where Ash sleeps too long. But for the most part, I think they went with pretty much what they had.
Okay.
As I recall, they didn't have they didn't have a long filming schedule, so it was kind of, for the most part, stuck with what they had.
What happened to some of the other people who were in the movie? I mean, I'm not trying to be tough. You guys normally know these things, so I'm.
Let's see.
Beth Levitas, she went on. She had a pretty decent career. Came back to horror when the remake of 13 Ghosts. And I know she's been in a few other things that I'm not going to lie, I don't know them. And of course, we got Bridget Fonda in a cameo. I mentioned her, how she was in everything in the 90s, and then got married to Danny Elfman and had a family and gave up on her career to take care of her family, which is very commendable.
No, wait,
but honestly, that's the only people I know of.
Danny Elfman? Who? Was it Ted Raimi?
Close. Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda married Danny Elfman?
Close. It was Bridget Fonda.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yep.
What year did she marry Danny?
I have no idea. And I'm recording on my phone, so I can't look it up.
Okay, hold on. I don't know.
Sometime in the early '90s.
What's this?
He was asking when Bridget Fonda married Danny Elfman.
I got an invitation, but I didn't go.
I'm going to take Joel's question. What? You didn't go?
I didn't.
2003.
Okay. Have you seen Bridget Fonda lately?
I have not.
No.
I did not get an invitation, so.
That's a thing.
What's your question, Butch?
I was wondering my phone wasn't charging. What does anyone have one favorite scene? One that just really sticks out?
Yeah, the training montage.
A very Jewel question, but I'll ask it.
I'm a sucker for scenes like that. What? The training montage.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Building the hand. That's
the fact that when Ash is standing there and he's prisoner, it's one of my favorite scenes. It's early, and he's just like, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. And he just says, you're in charge of two things, Jack and shit. And Jack's left town to enter the red. It's funny. Bruce Campbell created him and Sam Raimi created an amazing character. I would, when you look at the 3 Evil Dead films, Ash goes through, a lot of change.
He does. I think really the Ash character, as far as I know, got created in the way we know him today with the line, "Look, you primitive screwheads. This is my boomstick."
No.
Why has that type of character put on?
Yeah, it really announced, in my opinion, it announced that Bruce was a force, and I think all actors, or maybe not all, but I guess most actors, a part of them is in their character. William Shatner's James T. Kirk is different from anybody else's James T. Kirk. Bruce Campbell's Ash Williams is different from anybody else's Ash Williams. But this film, if you put somebody else in this role, I just don't. I'm not saying it couldn't work. I don't think it would work as well.
No, I'm talking about this type of character.
Yeah.
I think it's really pretty unique.
Well, I think too, this character here, it sort of starts a little bit in Evil Dead 2, that it completely manifests in Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. Because I see very little of this Ash Williams in Evil Dead 1. The character really came to life here in this film most. And when you look at the other characters that Bruce Campbell would play after this, Briscoe County Jr., that wasn't Ash Williams. That, he didn't try to duplicate that character, outside of Evil Dead in other things. He did a good job of playing different characters. I do feel he should have been to me, he's so entertaining to watch. And I don't know whether maybe it was his choice or what, I don't know. I do wish studios would have given him more movie roles because he's a terrific actor.
How old is Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost certain he's in his 70s by now.
He's got to be in his 70s.
66 years old.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
More than I thought. Okay. Interesting. If you could see him in any part, what would it be?
I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to use something you said to me about 20 years ago. I mentioned this earlier. I think it was when they were coming up with Star Trek Enterprise. I think Bruce Campbell would make a great Starship captain.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly in Star Trek,
era?
for anyone that does.
What era?
I think he could do any of them. I'd like to see him in the Kirk/Pike era. I think that would be much more interesting, or he needs to be post whatever, after whatever the most recent, I guess Lower Decks would be the most recent, or Picard, something past that. Let him be in a new era if you're not going to do the classics. But I think, given Kirk and Pike, I think Bruce's character would just shine in that kind of role. I mean, honestly, I think he could play Pike if he wanted to. That's not, I'm completely biased and I'm admitting it, but I think he could play the hell out of that character, and that's no insult to Anson Mount.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Lincoln agrees.
Yeah. Trying to think. I know he's 66 years old, and I would love to see him either play a version of Mysterio in the Marvel movies, because he's been in the Spider-Man movies as a kid. That or the guy who warns the Fantastic Four about Galactus.
Silver Surfer?
No, the
Watcher?
Yeah, the Watcher. For television, I'd like to see him maybe in a show. I watch Dark Winds, which is a really good Western show. But I would be. I was very happy to see Bruce Campbell in a little show called Burn Notice. I thought he was amazing in that. Very good show of Jeffrey Donovan and them. But I always enjoy watching him. He's an amazing. He's fun to watch.
Yep.
It's weird. All the roles you sort of want your icons to play. They're getting older. They're up in age, and it's like they didn't. You feel at times they didn't get that opportunity to play certain roles for whatever reason. I don't know why Bruce wasn't in more movies that to me he should have been in.
I don't know. I've never heard about him being a difficult actor. I think he is so stylized
Yeah.
and so Bruce Campbell that studios are afraid they can't mold him into one thing or another.
Yeah.
I know he used to say, or maybe he didn't. I know some people said because he was in Congo, and that was supposed to be the next big film, and I don't know if it bombed, but it didn't do well.
Yeah.
Allegedly, that was kind of blamed on him, and it's like, no, that
I didn't
wasn't a
see
good
Congo.
film.
How was it?
It's not horrible, but it's just like, yeah.
The 90s movie?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not his fault.
No, but I have heard, read, seen, whatever, that people want that. If that was after that, studios are like, well, he's just this niche guy doing these niche films and TV shows. It's like, no, you just didn't make a very good movie, but okay.
Yeah. He's too talented of an actor to be sitting at home, doing nothing. And,
Unless
he should be doing something. But just amazing to watch Bruce Campbell. So
You want to watch Bruce Campbell?
it's amazing to watch Bruce Campbell on screen, whether it's your television or the big screen. It's fun to watch.
I agree.
But yeah, what's you guys' favorite outside of the Evil Dead films? What's your favorite Bruce Campbell role outside of Ash Williams?
Briscoe.
Yeah, Briscoe's good.
I think he got to do the most.
I was going to say the Deadlands in.
Yeah.
I was going to Briscoe. The Deadlands in me won't let that pass. I mean, he's just too good, and again, could somebody else have played Briscoe? Yeah. Would they have played it like that? No. I personally don't.
Was the part written for him?
Certain actors. That's a good question, and I don't know. But it's sure, after seeing this and Evil Dead 1 and 2, here he is, if you will, a straight rose, and he's just a straight up guy. Like, whoa, this is really interesting. I admit to sending a letter into Fox to keep it going after the first season. And that's why you got a second season.
True.
Yeah.
What about you, Joel?
If Mark B. Perry ever gets his Dark Shadows off the ground, have Bruce Campbell in it, please. Have him doing something, anything.
I can buy him that.
Anything.
You want him in Dark?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who has?
Whoever they want to put him as. Whoever they want to put him as.
I think he'd make a great Willie Loomis.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd make a very good Willie Loomis, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what Barnabas could possibly contain him?
Because
you know what? To turn the character, to turn him on his ear a bit, have him play Patofe.
Bruce Campbell's Count Patofe, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fun. It's a character from Dark Shadows, kind of this sorcerer, this one-handed sorcerer with crazy curly hair.
Yeah. Have Bruce Campbell play Count Patofe.
Who was there was a guy was in the Dark Shadows Daybook, had an unusual name, He was kind of a mentor character. He had a beard and glasses.
That's Count Patofi.
Say it again.
Count Patofi.
Okay, it's kind of cutting out. He was missing that first part. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
I agree.
Yeah.
Patofi's so fancy, though. It'd be interesting to see Bruce in that kind of part.
Yeah, it really was. But
Yeah.
it's where. Well, I asked this to you, Patrick. Where do you rank the Evil Dead movies? I asked this to Butch earlier.
In comparison to what?
Like, in what order do you rank them? Where would you put them? With them,
Like, as great horror movies, or
like what order would you put? Like Evil Dead 1 first? Would you put?
I see what you mean. Reverse the production order. I think for me, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. Butch, how about you?
I cheated. I refused to do it. I told him, it depends on what you want. You want some straight horror, you watch one. You want some horror and comedy and a little bit of action, watch two. Action and comedy, you watch three. I mean, it's a cliche, but there's something there for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question. What's something you guys want to see Sam Raimi do as a director?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Whatever he wants. I mean, he has this capacity to surprise me. So I want him to be able to keep doing that.
Yeah.
If that's not too weak of an answer.
No.
I want to see him stretch his wings a little bit. Do something he's interested in. Maybe he wants to do a Star Trek film. You know what? Let him do a Star Trek film. Because I remember when The Dead was announced, I'm like, Sam Raimi's going to do a Western? And I love that film. That's a great film. So I think he could do just about anything he wanted. I just, I don't need to see, I don't know, Evil Dead 6 or whatever it was. I've lost count. But if he wants to do it, okay, great. I just wouldn't mind to see him stretch his wings a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably a minority, but I really enjoyed the Doctor Strange film that he did. I wished it would have gone a little bit more into horror, because I think that I always felt like that was a missed opportunity there.
I can see that. Yeah.
Sam Raimi was dangerously close to making a Shadow movie, so I'd like Sam Raimi to do The Shadow. There you go.
Yeah, I know. Let him do a sequel to Darkman.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they did.
I was actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Needs.
But yeah, I mean, he can do whatever he wants. Well, here's one for you guys. John Carpenter just got his name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What's something you'd like to see John Carpenter do?
More Lovecraft. Whatever happened to that Mouth of Madness movie, or the Mountains of Madness? Wasn't Del Toro doing that? Did it come out, and did I miss it?
I don't know. Where'd Butch go?
Is Butch still here? Where'd he go?
No, he's not here.
Turn the lights out up there.
No. I have no idea.
Two.
Oh, hold on, that's more. Let's see.
What you doing?
Oh, okay. His Wi-Fi dropped off. He'll be back in a minute. But yeah,
I'm gonna try my strawberry
I'd
raspberry.
I'd like John Carpenter to do a science fiction movie, but I don't know what I would want to see him like. What kind of science fiction? I don't know. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be horror, but oh, there it is.
Oh,
There he
Is
is.
Butch back?
Sorry.
Good. Now I'm taking a break. Hold on.
Yeah, what were you saying, Joel? You heard John Carlson doing that.
Yeah, I was asking, what's John Carpenter got his name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Is there a movie you'd like to see him direct or do?
I bought a whole case of the next week.
I would like to see him do a straight up Western.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, the two closest films he has that we know is Hi Pookie, Hi Julie. But the two closest is obviously John Carpenter's Vampires and the original Assault on Precinct 13. But yeah, I would more like to see a straight up Western.
Sorry not to interrupt you for last time. Madison?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get hers. I didn't mean.
Really bad?
Sorry. But I agree with you. I would like to see more of a straight up Western. I don't know what kind of Western he would want. Like, would he want to do like a based on a real life figure or sort of his own fictional character? You know what I mean?
Or he gets together with Kurt Russell and they do a remake of Rio Bravo / El Dorado, and Kurt is the drunk this time. I was thinking about that the other day. John Wayne said to what's his name, the director, when they did Rio Lobo, and he said, "Do I finally get to be the alcoholic?" And you know what? I think that would have been amazing to see John Wayne do that. So yeah, let Kurt and John do a version. At the very least, I just let Kurt be. Hopefully, Kurt would be in it, even if it's just he walks by somebody or something with an eye patch, of course.
No.
There we have it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it'd be nice to see. But scale 1 to 10, what do you guys give Army of Darkness?
What's a 10?
10. Yes. 10.
If it's not, you did something
I'm
wrong.
not Tommy.
Okay.
But yeah, great movie. I'm out of questions, guys. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
No, thank you for letting me join in late, but present.
No, it's no problem. No problem. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book of Bow will be in the description box. Butch, if you ever want to come back on, just message me, man. Or if you want to review a movie, please message me. You're more than welcome back on, my friend. You guys have a great night and take care.
In the house too.
Thank you.